Hello, hello, friends of crypto price charts, friends of big pump days and big dump days. I'm E. Giuliano. It's 8th of September. Wow, can you believe it? Well, we are going to see it. I'm going to show the screen share of charts. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being interested here, and I hope that this is something maybe educational, entertaining for you. And yeah, I hope you're doing well. Let's hit up that screen share. None of this is any type of advice, financial or otherwise, although hoping that you're staying hydrated. And you know, I've missed the pump day and the dump day in one sense, just dealing with personal pursuits of life, liberty, and happiness. You know what I'm saying? So wishing you all the best here. As we start looking, we can look at Pirate Chain. Interesting developments. Yes. Very interesting. KMD as well. And the BTC. Let's start with that one. Because as we all know by now, and if you don't know by now, well, now you know. So what is this? This is an obvious break of the uptrend in a bigger wave format. That's my sense of it. Kept making higher lows, creeping up. As soon as you see so much, like let's say momentum downwards, the time it takes to get down here compared to the time it took to go up, that says a lot. So now, how do we start thinking about it? This is BTC on the daily price chart. I'm going to look at, firstly, how much time did we spend going up? Spent about 45 days, let's say, so a month and a half, 6 weeks, right? So is this going to be a 4 to 6 week correction? Is it going to be a 2-week correction? Or what kind of a correction does this first wave need? Now, on a daily, we got the Kumo twist coming up. We have weakness through the cloud. 200-day moving average is the last support here. Really, if that's not holding, then it's further dump days. There's been good buying support here, but we've seen similarly, let's say, for example, right here, back in the April timeframe, 17 and 18. So there is definitely a chance of this being maybe a week, 2 weeks, maybe even just a few days, let it return. But because look here, we're eerily close. I'm going to just zoom in this. The Bollinger Bands are still pretty tight. They haven't really expanded like they do back here. These are still pretty tight. And what's going to happen here? Are we going to start floating down, waterfalling? Or is it going to be supportive and then we're going to move our way back up? Maybe test 20-day and then come back down, or test 20-day moving average, get above it, start getting back to this 50,000, 49,000 resistance area and beyond. But here we go back with our line back down to this level here around the 50,500 level. Let's just pop it right there anyway. At this point, I'm going to just get rid of it because it confluences with the box, and that box is still in play. Now, this 40,000 level is also still the major support, where if we can hold that, then we even have a higher low than this previous low, and that makes for a good completion and a potential for a continued uptrend. Now, let's start using some Fibonacci tools and taking a look at what's happening here. So from the very bottom of the move to the very top, we retrace around the 38.2%. And so the 50% is around 41,000, and the 61.8 is around the 38,000 and a half. And if you notice, it's around this type of support level. So, so yeah, we're looking for, you know, a 38% retracement is not unheard of, especially with bullishness, when there's, you know, good support and strength to the upside. So we're going to see what this is going to be. It quickly turned, you know, it looked like we were getting back potentially into that positive momentum again, but looks like we're getting a bit of a dump here. And I imagine we're going to make something like this. You know, so we might get more volatility or more negative momentum. Having said that, you see how quickly it can turn from positive to negative. So maybe it gets back on track. That's the MACD RSI, just looking at this potential for touch. So let's see, this is going to tell us also a lot of information. Yeah, oops, that's not what we're looking for. Now, the other things to consider is on this move itself. Like, let's now zoom in and say, okay, this was a significant correction, but it was, again, just a 38.2, but it was noticeable enough as a correction. Okay, in that sense, maybe we're not getting a 38.2 here, but it's still so close to the previous move that maybe what needs to happen here, let's just retrace this from here to here. We've already touched the 61.8, so maybe this is clear. You see, the severity of it, in one sense, is only 38.2. Now we've created some alternation here. So we could totally make even a flat pattern, like a proper nice flat pattern, where from here, maybe we retrace, depending what kind of flat pattern it is. But let's just imagine from the top to the bottom, let's retrace and find, yeah, we could even hit up into like the 50,000s, or even towards, obviously, a flat, like a 1-to-1 flat would be at 52-ish. I mean, and then if you really want, if this is like a really bullish, you might even run into some sort of running, well, I don't think it would, anyway, it doesn't matter what I think, could have some sort of running or irregular flatting situation, if we are continuing this move here with further, like, for correction and then up, which was always the scenario. But, you know, the market, the composite operator, does what it does in a very strange fashion. The sentiment is quite interesting. I'll bring you down to the 4-hour price level. Yeah, see, we're starting to break it. We're holding, but it's kind of getting lower, and we're already below these key areas here. So definitely potential for further dump down. You know, yeah, anything's possible at this point. And in terms of RSI, definitely could get back oversold. Maybe you start building a some sort of divergence on the bullish case. But anyway, in terms of these price levels, again, notice the wick low is really close to this, these highs here. So that's kind of the level that we're really working with at this point. Can create some sort of double bottoming. That would be nice. Anyway, there's a clear path to the 40K. Now, if we want to take an extension here and go from top to bottom, if it's going to be some sort of zigging and zagging, let's imagine we go like this and go there. That is a possibility, hitting that 38,000 level and bang back up. Sure, that's possible. You know, clear out the month of September, at least this middle part of the month of September. That would be interesting. Even if it's not a 1-to-1, so then it would be less than 1-to-1. That would show some more strength. Maybe it just stops around between 68.1 and 61.8, sorry, and 786. But anyway, which are around 41 and 40,000 respectively. So there you go. That would be like a 1-to-1 if we're experiencing a zigzag. Now, if we're going flat style, which, let's just turn on the power of lines. Yeah, see. Well, it hasn't really rebounded yet. So let's see what it does, but it's giving the sense of more downturn rather than upturn. So we'll see. I don't think we're going to get that flat. We've got quite the resistance here. So maybe the 4 hour is signaling a little bit more down before up. So let's look towards some sort of zigging and zagging for the next, at least for the rest of the few days, rest of this week. It looks like it. There you are for the BTC. And if we want to just look again on the weekly, what does this look like? Yeah, big bear candle there, but good support. So fun times in the Bitcoin markets. Yeah, everything is still good. It could trickle. It could trickle and catch up with this 20 period average, and then it's time to go. That's also the case, you know. These are where the possibilities are hanging out, because this 20 period average will start curling up quite nicely, quite quickly. So there you go. We'll see where this leads. That's about it for now. Let's see what this does. Maybe this is going to be smaller and then bigger, or we're done with this and it needs to go further negative. And that would be an interesting scenario, working in towards this Ichimoku cloud area. All right. And oh yes, just back to that 4 hour, 1 second. I wanted to reference this line before we get rid of it. We had this uptrending slope, kind of supported it here, and then boom, we're done. And it confluenced with that 20 period average on the 4 hour. What a candle. Ooh-wee. Let's just take a moment and reflect on the type of market that we are looking at here. This is incredible. I mean, what a time to be alive. Wow. This, yeah. So there you go. Boom. I mean, a blip in time, really. Let's see how this continues. This candle here, this green one is positive, but not quite positive enough. And so, yeah, it looks like we're gonna be making some way down. Imagine this looks, you know, similar to the way it was behaving before. So we'll see, but this is on a shorter time frame. Okay, that's it for the BTC. Wow, that was taking a while. Okay, here we go, KMD. Fans of KMD here on the KMD USDT. Whew, there's a similar candle. Now, an interesting candle here on the daily price chart. Looking good, dumped down to the dollar level, even below. Look at that. This is Binance price chart on the daily price scale. Ho, ho, ho. Look at this swing right here. Let's just measure this for the fun of it. If you're talking from top to bottom, you're looking at a 42%. Whoo! And then, wow. Like if we're just gonna go, you know, body to body, let's go body to body, and we're at a minus 22. So that's a rough one for all of us. Where are the trolls? Because that is the time to come out and play. We rejected this uptrending line. Remember this one from the previous. So let's get back to where we were before. On the KMD USDT, we rejected this previous orange uptrending line. So we tried to get above. There was that nice bump day. Again, this was a good signal to recognize, but I mean, who's thinking of this scandal? Well, there you go. There it is. And we're going to get rid of the triangle. I just want to note the move of the triangle. We'll use the extension. So if we take the A move here, it was this one here. I know that was A to B, 0 to A. We'll take that and we'll measure it from here. And we got roughly a 1618, and then you know, move Oh no, we'll take it from where that E wave would have been, which is about here. Wow, there you go. So, because if we went up D and then down E, if you remember that, check the previous videos. Boom, 1618. So fun with the Fibonacci's. Interesting with that look on things. But anyway, after that, we got the rejection quite hard. So let's get rid of this for now. And this uptrending line, we just could not, the downtrending line, we could not hold it. That's the bigger one from the previous two big tops. And we now find ourselves fighting that line. There was good rejection here. We're still fighting within this cloud, and like some waves, it's kind of finding its way further down. So eventually, where is it going to be? And we're going to be crossing it at some point. That's the idea. So let's get rid of the triangle as well. And we'll keep this critical support area of $1-ish, $1.03 there. And we're going to try and map out what's happening here. There's a daily price chart. There's with KMD, there's always room to go lower at this point. But, for some sense of reason, this just is not as concerning yet, although I probably shouldn't be thinking like that, because then it might turn concerning, and then I'll say, oh my goodness, why did I think that? Of course it's concerning now that it's obvious, but let's take this trend line for now. This is our friend, and let's just see if it matches what type of yeah. So we're still working within this channel. So there's the idea for that. All right. Now, in terms of retracements, because we like to take a look at where are we and what kind of retracements have we made. So let's take this full move, and we'll say it's retraced similarly like the BTC through the 618 level. We're hanging out at the 0.5 level. So maybe this whole thing is the end of this uptrend here, and we're going to be working downwards. But I just see here how important these price levels are. We're on the verge here. We're with all these wicks right now. If you can see that green dotted line there up here. So that's where we are. This is a super important area. Let's hope that all this buying was enough, and that it will sustain and support itself around here. Let's see, that's definitely going to be a Bitcoin thing. And at that point, you know what, we're already making, there's already a need to wash things out a bit too. So who's to say, maybe for the BTC chart, we can look a little bit differently. We're also going to look at potential rebounds here. So if we're going to retrace from this move, we are at a 382. So we definitely want to go higher to maintain safety here and support. Otherwise, if we're just bouncing off this 382 level and continuing down further, well, there's your pain right there. Okay, that's the idea that I'm thinking right now. The 1618, sorry, the 618, is right here at about $1.30, $1.34. So, and even the 0.5 is at $1.25. So it's possible to have retracements and still make, retracements to these levels up here and then find further down turn. We'll see. We shall see. It's going to play itself out in the next little bit. If we take a 4-hour price chart, similar to the Bitcoin, right? It's even got these two kind of candles here, bigger ones. And so let's see. Not all is not lost per se. But it's interesting where the price is playing and what's happening here. Right now, the price here is at these resistance levels and support levels here. So That's quite the waterfall, friends. That is quite the waterfall. Okay. Yeah, this, I mean, this in itself can't be the own correction. There has to be some sort of shape that comes to it. So let's see what that becomes. Yeah, I mean, this works in a sense. We can see ourselves coming down here and closing around these levels, even below the dollar level closes. And then from there, we can make our moves back up, possibly. I just want to check here with the Fibonacci extension. Yeah, like a 1-to-1 is at about 77 cents, let's say. So grab yourself something. I mean, 90 cents is a 61.8. So if we're going to be powerful and strong in a zigzag formation, even a 61.8 at 90 cents would be your friend. So those are some ideas for you. Again, none of this advice, because you got to figure out for yourself what's right for you. Now, that seems the bearish case. Right now, the bias is downward, definitely downward bias. We're hoping just to here, but yeah, something needs to play out. Now, if this is the move down and we are actually done with it, and let's say there's some sort of missing X wave here or something like that, then cool, then we're good and we can try and move forward. And if we do get a big I say rebound and continue, that's nice, but doesn't usually play out like that. And we're gonna try this for our main support is 95 cents. Like if we start coming down below, but again, this is a channel, right? So that channel is still in play down around here. Okay, 95 to $1. All right, so that's where we are. On the RSI, we haven't even really made the oversold position. So what does that mean? Maybe we're still needing to go oversold. In terms of the MACD, is it just going to continue with more negativity, or are we actually going to get some positivity here first? And in which case, what is it just going to be a tease up to the $1.28 level? Okay, well then that might be, again, if you're trying to play games, then maybe you unload a bit as it comes back here, but I don't. Look, let's just do a retracement from the top. Yeah, is it really going to have enough strength to get to the 618 or even to the 0.5? That would be nice, but so that means the rest of this week would be stronger and uptrending, and yeah, I guess maybe, but wow, that would be a nice 25% for traders, these kinds of moves. And that doesn't count let's get back to the candles. That doesn't count anybody who had some levels set down here below $1 for fun and got them filled. So, or even at the dollar level, okay? Oh yeah, so congrats everybody playing well. And wishing you all the best. That's the KMD on the USDT. Now let's take the KMD on the BTC. And if somebody told you, hey, we'd be hovering around 24.64 on September 8th, how do you feel about that? Maybe they told that to you, this is the 4 hour. So maybe they told that to you on the 1st of September, where you were just coming up to this 24 level. And they said, hey, in a week, we'll still be at the 24 level. You might say, oh, okay, that's great. That means we're not going lower. Well, yeah, but they didn't tell you that first we would go up to the 28, 29 level, and with a wick, we're talking all the way into the 3000s. Not the high in the 3000s, but it pierced it. So what a dump, right? What a dump. So that's why I think that if played well, KMD can be a fun one to play, if that's what you're into. yeah, maybe we don't need to clear oversold on the RSI. Maybe it is following a decent trend on a type of uptrending position. Maybe it is okay, but maybe not. And in which case, we'll know pretty quickly what is the deal. Maybe it's in, yeah, we'll know. I mean, it did catch it decently here. I mean, I am trying to match it with this one and the previous one, but well, I find it's significant to some sense. We'll see if it has to come down and touch all the way oversold, or maybe if it's ready to keep going higher, because in that case, these waves of RSI and MACDs over here would all be part of the bigger wave up, where each time it's higher lows and higher highs and higher lows and higher highs. Now we are really careful here. Let's use some retracement. So, okay. And this was just this wave, like that doesn't mention what happened here. See, this super impulse up gets cleared out completely, but the choppiness before that doesn't necessarily. I mean, some of it does, okay? You see that? Gets lower here. However, so then we think about this case here, the super impulse was only here at this part here. Okay, you see that? Let's get zoomed in. So the super impulse, let's say, is around here, boom, and then we clear all of it out. And there's the choppiness here. And actually, we went quite low on the choppiness. So is that meaning that we are potentially done? Because if we take a retracement of this whole move, full retracement here, we are already, again, playing with that 61.8 level. Okay, that's not perfect alignment, but it's good enough for now. I could lower this a little bit. Why? There we go. So there you go. So that's quite significant, I think. And if we are continuing uptrends, then 61.8 is an important level. Also, we're just trying to hold that upward trending line here. That would be beauty bullish for the BTC price of KMD. That would be great. But if it has to break that one and signify, an overall break of this whole uptrend, in that case, maybe it gets down to the green uptrending line. And although it breaks down some of this action here, it doesn't fully break down this action back here. And we're considering the whole move here of higher lows and higher highs, higher lows and higher highs. But now this low will maybe break this low or come around it. And that would be confluencing with this price level back here. So we'll see. More bullish is holding this price uptrend and Ichimoku cloud, but look at this. We've got the duck, the Ichimoku duck coming in. The Ichimoku duck, when it's facing its neck near the price, not good, because even if you go here, boom, you can just get right through the duck neck. And that's not somewhere that you need to be. And even here at this Ichimoku level, can get through there. Now, that's where we are with that. We are potentially giving some room for positive momentum, but hopefully it doesn't turn out to this type of negative momentum here, where you get a big chunk and keeping going. Okay, that's the 4-hour price chart levels for the KMD BTC. And if we didn't check the daily, here it is. All right, now this is an interesting potential pattern. Okay, unfortunately, it could definitely be something like this, one of the great M type of patterns. So that would be what it is. That's just how it could be. And this is the KMD BTC price chart. So all of that talk about trying to stay on this trend line and on this trend line here, these are really important. Otherwise, we might be seeing, that might, that would be a lot tougher. We did it. We made it into the cloud. We almost even tested the 200-day moving average. It's just not there yet. It's just not there yet. But I love how it's supporting the 20-day moving average. if it can do this, you know, I already showed the levels of retracement and all that. We're at good levels of retracement and clearing levels of retracement. So if this huge bearish candle can have done the work of 4 or 5 candles or something like that, then that would be helpful, especially with these big buying wicks. Otherwise, we're looking something more like this, and then sideways up and then down again. But hey, it always, you know, here it led to something higher. So in this case, we'll find out, okay, in the coming days. Yeah, oh, how it would be nice to continue some bullish momentum here with the KMD price against BTC. For all of you KMD BTC enjoyers. Okay, so that's that idea. I'm definitely gonna take a closer look and come back with something for you as this keeps playing out. It's just what the weekly would be looking like. And yeah, I'm so neutral about this right now. Everything just feels very neutral, very neutral. At the same time, the downward bias, yes, because we're getting rejected 20-week moving average, couldn't stay above this key support resistance line. So definitely downward bias, but overall still kind of neutral. We'll see what this ends up being. Yeah, downward bias, short term, neutral, longer term. Okay, now pirates, let's get to this price chart because somehow Pirate Chain was dumping before everything. And then now it is recovering. And I mean, this is not out of the woods yet. This is the Pirate Chain BTC price chart. But one thing we want to notice when you got a big dump, okay, firstly, we were hanging out in the oversold area and it did give us some not divergence. But you know, momentum starting to turn, and we've got potential to get some positive momentum. But if we're just looking at price and the way price moves, price action, you recognize that this upturn, okay, this rebound, again, similarly to the previous talk where it's coming down, well, now we're talking about it going up, reversing the previous moves. So this is a significant enough move that reverses the previous move. I mean, oh, this is great because earlier when I was looking at this candle, it was still, the price was back down here in the low 6,000s or mid 6,000s, which was showing a rejection here. This price closing here is so important today. If it can close around the support level and then the next day stay strong on the RBTC, that would be huge. And that would mean also that's because the RUSDT is looking to stay at a certain level regardless of what BTC does. I'm going to extend you because you are such an important level now in terms of trying to get above it. But we have this nice 20-day moving average, but it got rejected, but we got rejected by it. But again, this candle is huge in terms of its importance. And we need to stick around this type of price level so that we can base and get higher from there. What does the 4-hour price chart tell us? Oh yeah, there's definitely room for making an impulsive move. In terms of Bollinger Band, we are pushing. We did make one already, and so maybe it just needs to base here, and then boom, we're going higher towards this 200 period average on the 4-hour price chart. Ichimoku clouds are not enabled, so let's pull that back up. Boom, interesting how that was a rejection point. So there you go. So we are meeting up with it. It's either further downside or we start fighting it and we make our way over it. Beauty, and I think that is definitely in potential. However, what kind of momentum are we going to see here? Is it going to be some sort of carried momentum, where even where we see the negative momentum here, it's just in corrections which are small enough that, you know, when you add it up, the combination of this makes a nice big move higher. So we'll see where this leads. In terms of RSI, again, there's definitely room to go up, but wow, what a punch up on the RSI. there was some divergence here on the RSI, bullish divergence coming from here down to here. So those are always nice clues. 4-hour price chart is great when you're watching bigger corrections, because then you can really start figuring out what are good levels. And look, these are each 4-hour candles. You don't have to panic. You can set a decent level and it'll be around there somewhere, right? Again, this is advice, but if you are doing it, it can be easy to want to panic and try and get in and all that. And it is important to set reasonable levels, but you can spread it out and you can let them get hit, and they often will, right? Okay, so there you go. That's the idea. Next, let's move over to the longer term chart, because you know what, it's still making lower lows, and we're going to check the CoinEx exchange. It's a bit different, but it is making lower lows. I will say though, we made it into the 5,000 Satoshi levels, and that's crazy. Now, closing price wise, this is different chart, so we're not going to use these levels in the same way. But yeah, we were in around the 5,500 Satoshi levels as closings. Notice how we held this type of uptrending higher lows. So really now the point is we need to make a higher high than this one here. We need to go higher. Otherwise, it's just a matter of we went up, we went down, we went up, we didn't quite make it, and then we go further down. That's possible, but the idea now is, let's see the candles. Yeah, the idea now is this is critical level. We really want to get above it. Otherwise, okay, fine. Maybe it's a type of flat happening here where we're just flattening out and then going to go higher. The other concern is going down. This Bollinger Bands are not volatile at all right now. And we've pushed it once. We're trying to push it again. It's not working. Are we going to be failing this 20-day moving average and dumping down? Well, that's where the concern is. So, however, it just looks, this correction, the timing of this correction is done. We're done. It has met our criteria. Look at the daily Ichimoku cloud. It's just setting itself up to allow some sort of passageway. Just feels like it. Even the lagging span is now flirting with the price at a level where it can easily get above it. And then once we can get ourselves away from the cloud, that's like super bullish territory. Now, things can always change, and we can again dump down, and the Ichimoku cloud can get lower and lower, and that's possible. We see that on the KMD price chart. That's not what has happened over time on that Binance price chart. Okay, or Binance market, I should say. Okay, now in terms of the 4-hour price, though, we are above the cloud and we are looking kind of healthy. So let's see if we can sustain that. Pirate Chain loves to pump and then slowly move down, pump and slowly move down. So it's hard to make the calls, but again, here we see some divergence, boom, boom on the RSI, boom, boom on this 4-hour price level, and nice bump up. So interesting times. We got to stay above the cloud, keep the lagging span. It's green. I'm going to change that right now. The lagging span is going to be this purplish color. There it is. Okay. We'll make it the pinkish one. Okay. So there it is. It's already above the price. So we're in a good bullish position here, Ichimoku wise. If you're trading off Ichimoku indicators, you're actually good to go right now, if you know what I'm saying. So that's it for that. I would say for our BTC, we're in a pretty decent level. And yeah, we are gunning for these 9,000 Satoshi levels. We gotta go take them. But before that, we have to claim into the 8,000s and hold that. But really, it's the 9,000s where we want to be, over 9,000. Okay, that is that. I might be speaking too soon though. We might need to chop around first. Let's try and get to that 8,000 level and see if we get rejected or what happens there. Alrighty, so that is that. And on a weekly time frame, what are we looking like today on a midweek type of candle? Yeah, looking decent, overall. Pirate Chain, I think has done a good job in pumping and then consolidating. And now we're just ready to go. Like really the bias is up, but not, nothing is for certain. That's the main idea. Might need more time for accumulation, and then we're off. We'll see. Whole market is figuring itself out right now. I still think maybe short term, like week to weeks, maybe even 4 weeks, whatever, but it might be sideways down type of thing for the whole market. But again, maybe buyer chain is going to be a bit different. It's going to do its own thing. It was already dumping, and then now it's returning itself already. Like it's just kind of on its own schedule, possibly. All right, so that's the buyer chain thoughts. And I'm going to just check that USDT price chart just for thoroughness here. I don't know how long this video has been, but I hope it's been either entertaining or informative or anything else like that. Okay, where did I get that level from? This is the 4-hour price chart. We'll take the daily. This is USDT. It comes here, where here is this choppy price action where we need to make it in order to sustain this level between $4.50 and $6. Okay, and that is a rejection zone there of support, which turns resistance, shown over here. So first we want to get to this box area, which comprises from here down to here. See that? Over here, we're trying to get there. And look how nicely that confluences with being able to push our way above this cloud on the daily level. This is awesome. So let's go for that. And so yeah, $6 is definitely a strong target here, but at least into the 4.5 to 5s and sustain that before we can get higher. And then ultimately to the $8 is really where we need to be in order to sustain new levels of growth and adoption. Really, that would be what it is probably. Yeah, there you go. And interestingly, you have this momentum here. It's looking like it's turning negative. All of the relatively moving negative, and boom, it gets rejected there. Interestingly, so goes both ways, I guess. And there it was, coming back down. Nice support here with this 20-day candle. Yeah, and so I don't know what else to say. We're looking pretty decent, but decent is not always good enough. But we are continuing with the higher lows, and we're making relatively good pushes up. So I think that we're going to know a lot in terms of, are we going to break this uptrend line? That's going to be the deal. And even if we do break it, I don't know how long it would be before we can get back above, but because then, yeah, we'd be making our move down, break below it. Maybe we'll try and get back up. Actually, in terms of breaking below it, I imagine if we're seeing some sort of A, B, C type of move where we're just flattening out here and reaccumulating, then yeah, we could definitely break down below this uptrending line, find some support again in the $2 levels around 250 or whatever it's going to be, or 220, and it might be later along the line. Oops. Yeah, it's possible. But right now, actually with Pirate Chain, the bias is up. That's just where it is right now for me. Bias is up in my sense for Pirate Chain. Day to day, it might go up or down, but this just looks decent. It looks good. It looks good. I don't get any sense that it's going to turn too quickly. Like we are in the cloud right now, and we were riding the cloud down, but we're getting that support there at the bottom of the cloud, and we're pushed back up here again into the $3. So look, it is strong resistance here as well, but this level here has shown to be really good support, so it stays, and that's what we have for now. Good. buy support here down low, and we'll see what happens over these next few days here. I think this is the daily price chart. So if we look at the 4-hour, again, we are above the cloud with the price. The lagging span here is just meeting the price around here. So we could be breaking that soon. And hey, I think a little sideways and down, no problem. Worst case scenario support around like 275, 280. Well, in this case, we would want to hold the cloud. So I would really even say $3 and off to the races. And you know, a $3 support would be supported by the BTC price chart fluctuating, so that if Bitcoin's dumping and we needed to hold some sort of $3 level in Pirate, then that would be done by increasing the BTC price with Pirate. But then again, we don't know exactly what's going to happen. So right now we're working this type of shape. Okay. So far, this is where we are. Okay. Yeah, that's it. So we're very close. Either we break up and out, or we are coming back down here somewhere. Okay. Make sense? I mean, we have, because that way we are creating some boundaries that'll confirm or deny the momentum and the strength and the willingness of the market to take the price certain areas. Like, it's hard to consider it like that, because how does the market think if it's all just these individuals being collectivized into a market? But that's just how it works. Okay, our USDT. So far, bias is relatively to the upside. Could still see some of that through this 4-hour price chart with these lagging indicators. Yeah, and that could include some sideways and down first. Yeah, let's keep in touch. I will definitely be coming back with more. So for that being said, if you want to just look where we are in the weekly at the moment, can't really complain, I would say. Can't really complain. Definitely that 20-week moving average is a strong rejection. The only concern is that we're getting, you know, something like this. Like, is this where we're going with things, right? This is everyone's question. This is everyone's question. Now, I don't want to say everyone's question. When I say that, that's hyperbole, right? Meaning it's a bit exaggerated, but, you know, you could argue this type of move as a longer correction. But time-wise, it just doesn't seem right. This would mean we are in such a bear market. It would, yeah, this would be such a crazy bear market. But again, that's not impossible, right? However, based on Pirate Chain and what we've said before, I think another thing to consider will be the channeling and where we are with all of that, because that will also tell us what's going on. Like, we could have a 1, 2, 3, you know, 4 weeks, 2-3 weeks where we are just basing and ranging here, and then we're still within this channel. But that means, and this is going to be the last thing I say, and then I'm getting out of here. That means, though, that, oh, here, let me undo that and show you. That means, you know, you can't really break this trend line too much. Like, we're pretty close here. Now, yeah, nothing's stopping us from getting outside of a channel and then back in. So whatever, but we just see how important these levels are right here. I think it's going to be fun to watch. And I'm actually excited to see what's coming next, because I do see potential for positivity, quite so. In fact, here, let's take a look here. Yeah, like, we're in a lot of negative momentum here. on the weekly. So let's see what happens, what it takes to close that. I mean, it's taken some good movements up, so we are closing that down. But those indicators on a weekly price chart, there's just not enough data, especially with the USDT price chart. There you have it. That's basically that idea. I'm going to just check for us on the weekly again, some of those lagging indicators. Yeah, so here again, we're in that negative momentum space. So we're going to see something soon. And I guess this is the beginning of it. Maybe, you know, 3 green candles here and then maybe a red or 2 sideways or even down. And we do break this, whatever. It's going to be what it is. Again, this is the BTC price of Fire Chain. So yeah, but either way, it's like, hey, we could even be seeing something nice soon enough. Again, overall market is going to make a difference, but it could be worse. I mean, we're hovering around that 46K. It's really fighting. Could be time for further droppings. Although this scenario looks eerily familiar, this whole part of it here. We're gonna make our way down and then boom, we're gone. Interesting. Let's see this 4-hour and it looks like that. Yeah, I mean, I remember seeing something similar to that. Whatever. We're still not in a good position right now. That's all. Anyway, that was the bonus BTC for bearish fun times. All right. Take care of all yourselves. Until next time, goodbye.